Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. We're so glad that you're here with us today, whether you're watching us live or if you're listening to us on the audio later on. We're really glad that you decided to watch the show. And also, hello to all of our listeners in Atlanta. We're glad that you're tuning into the Atlanta radio station.
WDJY FM.
Joe Conjal says, hi, Rob and Joan.
Hi, Joe.
Are you back from Syracuse? George Dismuke says, I'm here. Nadine is here. Two dogs are here, but the dogs are playing checkers.
Woof, woof.
Smart dogs.
They're not even paying attention, are they?
Marjorie Deering says, hello. Hi, Marjorie. And Joy Shelton York said, good evening, Rob and Joan. Hi, Joy. How are you doing?
We got a little bit of thunder and lightning out there surrounding us, kind of moving through, so we may disappear, so hopefully we won't disappear.
Yeah, our electricity went out for a little while yesterday, so if the electricity goes out, we'll come back on. And we've already told our guests that.
Might take a couple of minutes, but
just don't worry. Oh, Joe just says, yes, got in last night, still tired. That's a long drive from Syracuse to North Carolina. And you know, it's exhausting to do all that driving. Joyce says we have the same thing.
It's that time of year, I guess.
That is
right?
that time of year.
Summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, reminders are Thursday night reminders for tomorrow night, WDJYFM.com, 99.1 FM in Atlanta, 9 o'clock Eastern time. You can listen to our show there. Also, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, 7:30, Haunted Campfire Tales. And our guest will be Angela Eurico Smith from Brazil, talking to us from Brazil.
And she has lots of interesting paranormal really stories.
Cool ghosty stories.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. And then Saturday, episode rewind, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, each Saturday. And next Wednesday, we're going to have an interesting show. I think, George, they're all interesting, I know. But it sounds different because it's George Franklin. He was an executive in the cereal industry, I believe with Kellogg's.
Yep.
And he's the author of a book called Cereal Wars, if you can believe it. So I guess it'd be Captain Crunch against General Mills. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that should be interesting. And I think that's...
Joe Conchal says, yes, and actually I stay at my sister's house, which is even further because she's in Poland, New York, near the Adirondacks. That is further. That is exhausting. And Paul Hollis says, hey, everyone, I'm here 3 minutes late. Please
you
dock
built up
my
some
pay.
credit. You built up credit. You're fine.
We're glad you're here, Paul.
Yeah, for sure. Want to remind everybody about the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. There's 27 books now that are available in the series.
Joe's just came out.
Joe Conjal's book, Catch a Tiger by the Toe, released yesterday, and it's still 99 cents, I believe. So if you want to grab that
Joe
one,
can tell us
now's the time to do it. He
cents.
can. Also,
we already bought ours.
Available for pre-order is the next book that's due out on August 20th. That's The Ransom Enigma by Brakefield and Berkey. And that's available for pre-order. So,
Joy Shelton York says, congratulations, Joe.
Indeed.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the first paragraph, Joy, the first chapter, but whoa.
Yeah. Whoa to everybody.
We're in for a ride. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, let's bring Dana on. I'm excited to have her on.
I'd like to introduce Dana Wayne. Come on in, Dana.
Hi, Dana.
Hi, how are y'all?
Good.
We're really good. Dana's from Texas, too. Do you know her, George? And if not, I want to know why.
Yeah, Dana, you shared with us that you make, what is it that you make that Mike gives you?
Relish.
Yeah, hot pickle relish. I think George dabbles in that as well.
Well,
He
he
makes all
makes hot
sorts of hot stuff.
salsa.
Hot
He
salsa.
grows his own
Ah,
chilies too. Joe Conjal says his book is 99 cents Kindle, paperback $9.99 for the first 2 weeks.
Awesome.
And then Joe said, "Thank you, Joy." So yes.
yeah,
Dana's a film
I've been making pepper relish for a long time, and it's pretty hot. You can put it on just about anything. Peas. I've put it as a salad dressing because I like hot. So
spicy.
spicy, yeah.
Yeah.
You put it on hot dogs?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can put it on hot dogs
Put it on
and
anything.
burgers.
I don't think it'd be very good on ice cream, but
Well, I don't know. There's some people at the state fair that would probably argue.
it might help cool the fire a little bit.
That's very true. It'd be good on tacos.
Oh yeah.
Patty Wiseman says, "Hey, Dana, listening from Texas."
Hey, Patty.
Hello, Patty.
Glad you could make
Welcome aboard.
Yes.
Oh, I want to mention anybody that's listening or watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the corner. Okay.
Yes.
All the sales work is done. Now we can
We were
talk
talking
to
to Dana about that yesterday in the pre-show.
That's what reminded me, actually.
It's like,
so it's her fault.
YouTube is not catching up with all of our other demographics. It's very slow.
I think there's too many choices.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, there are.
Too much. There's too many options.
Yeah.
You don't know where to go next.
Yeah. We used to do Tai Chi on YouTube, and we liked the instructor, and I'll be danged if I can find him again. And do you think I can remember his name? I cannot.
I don't know that I would ever even attempt that.
Oh, it's really nice. It helps.
Yeah.
It really helps when you're, not 30 anymore.
Okay.
It's really slow movements, and it is easy. We do yoga too, and believe me, Tai Chi is easier than yoga.
Okay.
And makes you feel relaxed and centered and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, enough talk about that kind of stuff. Why don't you tell us how you started writing? I know from your biography that you started later in age.
I have wanted to be a writer my whole life. I learned to love the written word before I could even read. My dad read paperback westerns, had a stack of them beside his chair, read every day. And since I was a daddy's girl, anything he was involved in, I had to have part of. So I would sit in his lap and he would read to me. And it just fascinated me that it was possible to paint a picture with words, that you could do it to the point that you could see that picture in your mind. And so I knew early on that I wanted to be a writer. And so, life goes on and things happen and everything has to kind of be put in its proper shelf for its proper time. And when I retired in 2013, my first thought was, now I'm going to write. And so it took me a while. I had a book that I had started working on a long time ago, and I worked at trying to put it into some kind of cohesive order. And finally, in the summer of 2016, I published my first book, and I never looked back. It was just like, that's my dream came true. That's what I wanted to do. And my husband was like, well, okay, what are you going to do now? And I said, well, I'm going to write another one. And
what do you think, right?
And so I'm working on number 8 right now. And he asked me the other day, he said, how long are you going to do this? And I said, I'm going to write till the words quit coming. And, then I'll go craft. So,
that's great.
Yeah, but
Joe Conjal says, hi, Dana. My dad loved the old Zane Grey books.
Oh, yes. That was Daddy's favorite.
Yeah. I think everybody likes
Purple Sage was my favorite book. That's the first book I ever bought. And to this day, I still have a copy. I lost my original copy way back.
Which book was that?
Riders of the Purple Sage.
Oh,
yeah. I think I remember that one.
I know. Yeah. That's great. That really is great. What was your first book?
Secrets of the Heart. It was, I actually got the idea for it. I was working in home health at the time, And we had a nurse working for us that she and her husband were retired, and she just went from place to place doing contract nursing. And so one day I was talking to her, and I don't even remember what we were talking about, but all of a sudden I got that, that writer, what if, what if this happened instead of that? I said, what if instead of a married couple traveling around, she's a single person? Okay, she's single. Why is she single? What happened? Well, this was like in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And so I just kind of noodled around on that idea and jotted thoughts down on notebooks, paperbacks, napkins, whenever something struck my fancy that, that would be a good idea for this book. And I would jot it down until, the day came that I finally took all those little pieces of paper and notebooks and things and started trying to put it in a cohesive order. And that took me a bit of a while, but Secrets of the Heart was my first book, and turned out it won first place in the Texas contest and got real good reviews, and still does. I mean, it's been out there since 2016 and still getting views. So, but
That's wonderful. That's great. And your latest one
my
is
latest
Texas
one is
Winds.
Williams, and I write very character-driven stories versus plot-driven, and all of my story ideas come to me character first. And for Texas Winds, I was looking on one of those photo websites, Deposit Photos or something, for a picture of a cowboy for a meme for one of my other books. And I saw this picture of this man sitting on a horse overlooking this mesa. And there was just kind of a little bit in profile. And immediately it was like, there's my next character. What's his name? What's his name? What's he doing here? Why is he happy? Is he sad? Is he mad? Something's wrong. What's going on in his world? Oh, his name is Jake. And just like that, Jake Holloway was born. And then it was just a matter of figuring out what his story was. And, a writer has 4 favorite words: what if and the end. Every what if you answer takes you closer to the end. And that's the way it was with Jake. What if this happened? What if that happened? And a lot of, well, with anything that you write, it's never the same way when you finish as it was when you started. You make all these iterations as you go along. And that was the way it was with them. But it's been getting awesome reviews, and I'm just really tickled about that.
When did that come out?
It came out in December of last year.
Okay. And you're working on your next one now, of
I'm
course.
working on number 8 now. This is it's another romantic suspense. It's called Danger Zone, and
We have that too.
yeah, that one's probably going to be out. The way I write, it takes me about a year to do a book because I do other things in addition to writing. I don't devote all of my time to writing, although I do a significant amount. And by the end of the year, hopefully it'll be usually November, December is about when I release my next one.
Well, this one looks a little steamy.
It is. They're all of my books are steamy. Romance has got all these different categories and genres and subgenres, and my work is considered steamy because it has less than 3 love scenes in it, and there's nothing really explicit. It's a little tame, but in my book, romance is more about emotion than sex. It's a journey that 2 people take on that rough and rocky road from I'm never going to love again to they're happily ever after. So
I agree 100%.
mhm.
Yep, I agree. Marjorie Deering says, "Who does your book covers, Dana? They're terrific. They are too."
Oh, thank you. I have used the same cover designer for years. Her name is Joanna Walker. She's out of Ontario, Canada. She has a business called Just Right Creations, and she has a Facebook page called Just Right Creations Pre-Mades. She has pre-made covers, and then she also does custom work. And she's a writer herself too, and but she's an extremely talented artist. and she's done all
The just.right is with a W for the right.
right. Yes,
Okay. I was assuming that, but
yeah,
wanted to make
right
sure.
creations, just right creations.
Okay,
And
cool.
but she's very good. She's done all of mine. And Chasing Hope, the cover for Chasing Hope was actually a finalist for the Roan Award for cover design when it came out. And the Roan Award is a reward. Oh shoot! Now I can't remember what the Roan stands for, but it's out by In Detail magazine, which is a magazine devoted to indie authors, and they have contests. They have cover contests. They have different things. They do reviews and all of this. And Chasing Hope was actually a finalist in the cover contest that year.
Cool.
Awesome. You also have Mail Order Groom.
Mail Order Groom is that was the I got the idea for that book after talking to Caleb Pirtle, and I know y'all know him. We were at a writers meeting, and someone talked about their new Mail Order Bride series that was coming out. And Caleb goes, "Why is it always a mail order bride? Why not a mail order groom?" And just like that, you know how it is when that writer brain kicks on. It was like, "Ooh, yes!" Got out my iPad, looked on Facebook. On Amazon. Didn't find much mail order groom stuff. By the time I got home that night, I had the story plotted out in my head, and that was the shortest book I ever wrote. I wrote that book in 8 months, start to finish, and that's with rewrites and edits and the whole 9 yards. And it's still to this day is probably my bestseller. And I think it's because of the title.
Thank you, Caleb.
Definitely. Thank you, Caleb.
He definitely planted the seed, didn't he?
He did. I told him, I said, I'm going to write that book. And he said, I'm going to look for it.
I'm sure he read it. This is Cooking with Family and Friends. Now, see, Texans, you all like to eat. I know.
Oh, we do. We do.
There.
Yeah. I love to cook, and I love
Cooking with
entertainment.
Family and Friends. I like that.
And before I retired, I was a software trainer, medical software trainer. And I traveled around the country training different people on how to use our particular software. And everywhere we went, they would have like a potluck or something, the day that the trainers were there. And so I started collecting recipes. And I'm a book cookaholic anyway. I have cookbooks from all over the country. And so I started collecting some recipes from some of the people that I met along the way and some family recipes and things like that. And so I did one cookbook. I think I did it the first one 3 years ago. Well, as soon as I sent the book off to be published, I found a box that had some other recipes in it. So when that sold all of those, I went back and did the second one and added about 80 recipes to it. And so that's my cooking. And there's a couple of little stories in there about growing up in the country and growing up in East Texas. And
nice.
Some of the recipes have a little blurb to go with them. Most of them are just where I got the recipes and stuff.
Two quick comments, then we're going to have to go to our first set of commercials. Chris Chrisman says, Mail Order Groom, I love it. Brilliant.
Thank you.
And Joe Conjal said, leave it to Caleb to know what would sell.
Absolutely.
And he did. He was right.
He was. He always was.
Yep. One of my favorite people.
I know. We all miss him, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Miss his advice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Well, one day he did tell me, no, he didn't. I'm just kidding. It's time for our commercial break. You can't live without your sponsors. That's what I said.
You didn't say that.
He never
ever.
said that. No. So don't go away, folks. We got more to come.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. Two new enemies await him in the small, coal-mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Now comes part 4 in the Jaguar series by retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dispukes. In this saga, Brandon, Andrea, and Naja, the Black Jaguar, go deep into the Mato Grosso jungle on a mission to rescue 2 kidnapped children. During their journey, they encounter many dangers, including Yanomami Indians, bent on revenge for the murder of one of their warriors.
Return of the Jaguar is book 4 in the Jaguar series, starting with 2 faces of the Jaguar, the Lost City, and the Jaguar's Quest. All 4 are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other bookseller websites worldwide. Return of the Jaguar is a must-read.
And we're back.
Indeed we are.
Patty Wiseman says, tell us about the critique process.
You know, somebody asked me at a writer's thing once, said, do you really need a critique group? And I cannot say enough about, yes, you do. Somebody besides you and your family needs to read it. And someone whose opinion that you trust and who you value, that's going to be honest with you and tell you if something is right or not. Too many times I've seen, things get out there that it was a self-published deal that didn't really follow all the steps that should be followed in order to perfect your work. And then when something like that goes out, it reflects on every indie author out there because they get lumped into that same category of someone not taking the time to do it right. And critique is very important because, more than once I've written something and I go, something is not right with this, but I don't know what's missing. And then someone else looks at it and says, oh, you need to do this, or you've got too much of that, or what direction are you trying to go? Because this is kind of ambivalent, that kind of thing. So yes, critique groups are invaluable to a writer. I wouldn't know how to act without it. And I have a great critique partner, so.
Well, speaking of critiquing, you indicated you wanted to read. Would you like to read a portion?
We won't critique it,
No,
though.
I won't. But it was a good lead-in, I thought.
I went through several different sections before I decided what I was going to read because there's all these good parts in there.
Yeah.
So chapter 1 of Texas Winds kind of sets the groundwork for the book. It establishes a lot of Jake Holloway's motivation for why he does what he does as the book goes on. And so I'm going to have to give me some light over here where I can see. Anguish produced a bitter taste in his mouth and forced out words better left unsaid. Fine, go. Hands fisted at his side, he stepped back, the urge to shake some sense into her almost too strong to resist. Mary hesitated, then whispered, I'm so sorry, before she bolted out the door in tears. Speechless, Jake watched her leave, hands clenched so tight they throbbed as he struggled to absorb her announcement. He went to the sink and splashed his face with cold water, ignoring the droplets dripping down his shirt. How do you fall out of love with someone you've been with since your teens? He splashed his face again, but the water did nothing to alleviate the soul-crushing pain eating him alive. She wants a divorce. She doesn't love me. Emotions in turmoil, he tried to pinpoint when things got so far off track, but nothing specific came to mind. More than likely, many petty things morphed into bigger ones, but he was too busy with the ranch to notice. Maybe it was the vacation he postponed last summer, one of the hottest on record. The temperatures passed triple digits daily. He spent every waking hour ensuring the stock survived. He succeeded in saving them, but did he lose Mary in the process? We just need to talk things through. That's all. We can work it out. With that thought in mind, he stepped off the porch and headed for the barn in time to see her exit astride her favorite mare, Honey Bear. When she passed the edge of the barn, she kicked the horse into a run. What happened next replayed in his mind like a slow-motion reel. Honey's right front leg buckled when she stepped into a hole near the gate, and she went down, throwing Mary to the ground. Blood froze in his veins when he saw her land on the big iron ore rock resting against the fence. He ran toward her, shouting for the ranch hands to call an ambulance. She lay motionless on the ground, blood pooling under her head, her right arm lying at an awkward angle. He yanked off his shirt and pressed it against the gaping wound on her head, crying and praying for her to be all right. The rest of that day and the following weeks became a blur of doctors and specialists who kept Mary alive long enough to give birth to a premature daughter. He muttered a curse and spurred Misty forward, unable to quash the one memory that haunted him to this day. Was the child his?
Wow. That's something.
Really?
Yeah.
That's,
Good job.
Thank you.
that's a lot.
It's a lot. And, the whole thing with character-driven work like mine is, like I said, the characters come to me first. And whichever character comes first is usually the one who has the most growth to go through in the course of the book. And in this case, it was Jake. Most romance novels start with the female point of view, but I start with whichever character comes first. Sometimes it's the female, sometimes it's the male. In this case, it was Jake. And so he gets the first page or the first chapter. And I write dual point of view. So we have the point of view of both characters. Usually the first chapter is one character. The second chapter, introduce the second one, and then maybe they come together at the end of the second chapter for their first initial meeting. And that's kind of how it was in this.
Paul Hollis said, great read, thanks.
Thank you.
And Joe Conjal says, nice hook at the end. Yeah, it made me think, it really made me think because, first of all, she wants a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, you don't know that she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Third of all, just after saying that, she dies,
Mm-hmm.
And you just think about the emotional turmoil that person who's left behind has to live with. I mean, that's really full of emotion right there.
And one of the things with Jake is that he's very closed off because of what happened. And he never told anyone that she wanted a divorce. And so he didn't know she was pregnant. And so he finds out when she's in the hospital because they had been having some marital problems. And he talks about that a little bit earlier in that first chapter. But, he has a lot of emotional baggage. And
yeah, all in the first chapter.
yeah,
Bam, you're like, oh, poor guy.
poor
I'm
guy,
amazed
poor
he's
Jake.
walking.
I told my husband, I said, bless his heart, Jake has just got it going on.
He does. I'm telling you, poor guy is right. Joe Conjal said, so Dana, are you a plotter or pantser?
I'm a pantser all the way. I cannot plot. I cannot outline. I have tried, and my critique partner has tried to help me with that. But if I ever put it on paper in any form or fashion, then that's what has to happen. And because of the way my brain works, it's like it's constricting. If I put it down and say, even in a chapter outline, a chapter this is going to happen, this, then it has to happen. There's no leeway. And to me, it stifles my creative flow. So I'm a pantser all the way. And that's a blessing and a curse, because a blessing in that, you're just free to just write it and then go back and take the crap out. But it's also a curse that you just write it and then all of a sudden you're up against a wall because you've written yourself into a corner and you can't figure out what needs to happen next, because you've kind of got all these, like little threads of things. This could happen and this could happen and this could happen and this could happen. And the next thing you know, you're in the corner going, what needs to happen next?
What is going to happen?
What is going to happen? What is going to happen?
George Dismuke said, do your characters come off the page and become real to you?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And the greatest compliment that I've ever gotten from readers is that, oh my gosh, those characters were so real to me. And, and that's what I strive for, is because if it's real to me, then it's going to be real to you when you read it.
That's right. That's exact. If it's not real to you, how could it ever be real to your reader?
That's right.
And you can have the best story idea in the world and you can be a great writer, but if you can't build that character, or if you can't use every characterization tool out there, then chances are, if the reader doesn't connect with the character, they're not going to connect with the book, and they're not going to connect with you.
You want your readers to laugh with you and cry with you and celebrate with you and mourn with you, and they can't do all of that if it isn't real.
That's right.
The only way they do that is if it's real and they're invested in that.
I had a friend of mine called me when she was reading my book, Chasing Hope. When it got to the end, she called me and she was going, I hope you're satisfied.
That happened with our last book. Our daughter's friend wrote it and said, I'm not happy with the way the book ended. I wanted blah, blah, blah to happen. And I said, that's great. That's the way you were supposed to feel.
That's right. That's right.
Chris Christmas said, he just writes another corner, LOL. He's going to go, I'll just write another corner. No Contra said, you're in good company. Welcome to the United Pantser Writers of America.
Yes, Pantsers rule.
Pantsers unite.
I have a good writer friend who has, I get a headache looking at her storyboard, because she's got Post-it notes and strings and lines. And it's just like, I said, girl, how on earth can you write like that? But she does her whole book on this storyboard before she ever starts. And she's got push pins and, sticky notes and a string from over here to over here and then back down to over here. And I'm like, holy moly, there's no way.
We knew a lot of writers like that. I know why you can't write like that. I think it's the same reason why I can't write like that. And that's because I'm a rule follower. I follow the rules. I really do. And so if it says it has to happen in that chapter, I don't think there's any way I can get out of that. That has to happen in that chapter. So I'd rather just not be.
I just
wing it and have what happens. Plus, your characters, they make decisions that you're not even part of.
We were talking about writer's block and Caleb earlier.
Yes.
When I was writing Secrets of the Heart, I wrote myself into a corner, and I couldn't get out of it. I didn't know where to go next. I had all these ideas, but nothing was working, and I needed to get to this ending. This is my ending. How do I get from here to here? Well, I went to a writers group meeting that evening or that weekend, and Caleb was there. And so I was crying on his shoulder about it because, I trusted his judgment. And I said, you've written a lot and you have all this experience. How do I get out of writer's block? And he said, get out of the way. No, get out of the way? What are you talking about? And he said, you're getting in the way of your characters. You're getting in the way of the story going where it wants to go. You're trying to force it to go where you want it to go. And I thought, well, I'm writing it. How can I be forcing something if I'm putting the words there in the start with? He said, back up in your story to where everything was fitting, where everything was working. He said, after that, take it out, put it over here. I may use this stuff later, and go forward. And he was right. I went back. I took like 2.5 chapters. It took me to find it. But I'd had one of the characters doing something that was out of character for that person that threw everything else off track. And once I figured that out and I changed it, I finished the book in 6 weeks. And but it was because I got in the way of the story, and I never forgot that. And so every time, and my friends can tell you, I do it to myself all the time because I get these ideas that, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then I'm like, okay, I can do all that, but what's next? So, yeah, just get out of the way of the story. Just back off and let the story tell you where it wants to go.
And not try to make your character do something that's out of character for them, because that's when you hit the writer's block.
That's it. And that's when you don't know your characters, because you put them in a position that if you were really paying attention when you were writing, you would know he would not do that. He would not say that. They would not behave that way. And then once you get that, that's where I messed up.
Don't you wish the character would just talk to you about it and save you all the...
Well, do you know what? I do character interviews. I have done that more than once. When I hit that wall where I couldn't move forward. And so I was telling somebody about this at a writer's workshop, and they were like, how do you do an interview? And I said, everything you need to know about that character is in your head somewhere. If you just sit down, put yourself in the mindset of talking to this character like they're a person, because in your mind, they are a person. I said, just sit down and ask them, okay, why did you do that? I don't understand. What are you trying to tell me? And you would be surprised at what you can find out simply by interviewing your characters.
Joe Conjal says his wisdom and guidance was priceless.
Wasn't it though? Oh my gosh. He was special. He was very special.
Yep, he was. But he's still here with us.
I remember what he said.
That's what I'm saying. we all do, don't we? So now you said that, let me see, let me bring this up again. Texas Winds will come out in November or December?
It came out in December of last year, yeah.
Oh, came out in December of last year. You have a new Danger Zone will come out in November or December.
It'll come out in November or December, yeah.
Yeah. And is that covered?
It's a romantic suspense. All of my books are standalone. Some of them take place in the same fictional area of Texas, but they're all standalone books. And Danger Zone takes place in the same location as my last book, The Detail. It's a little small town, fictional town west of Dallas called Walker. It's either Walker, Texas, or Bakersfield. That's where my stuff takes place.
So, The Detail.
Mm-hmm. The Detail was actually, it was a finalist in the Page Turner Awards this year for romantic suspense. And it's there's a contest called Book Life Prize, which is the indie branch of Publishers Weekly. And when you enter that contest, one of the things that you get is a critic's report on your work. And on The Detail, I scored an overall 9.5 out of 10 on that, and I scored a 10 on characterization, which I thought was just, that just made my day. And Texas Wind scored 10 out of 10 on all 4 categories, or plot, characterization, prose, and something else. I forgot what the 4th category is, but it scored 10s in all of them. So I have high hopes for the contest itself. I'm sure I'm not the only one that got 10s. I won't know that till December. But I really like those things because of the feedback that you get from it.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that is. That's really good. We need to take our last break here already. Time is really
Time's
ticking
flying.
by.
Yeah.
So we have more to talk about, and we'll be right back, folks. Don't go away.
An unforgettable mystery thriller that will transport you back to 17th century England. Introducing Dream of Courage, facing fear head-on, your passport to 17th century mystery, mayhem, and murder. Follow Robert and John Rushworth through Leeds' bustling Brigade District, where danger lurks in the shadows, embodied by the thief-taker Jacob Wilding. You will laugh, you will cry, and be in awe of the twists and turns. Its meticulous attention to character development, emotional nuance, and the unfolding of the story's layers promise a compelling and emotionally charged journey. The U.S. National Times said, "Modern writers usually don't know what it was like to live in the past, but Rushworth Brown does this with great skill." Uncover the secrets of Smythe, the enigmatic tavern keeper who sends Robert to the Haven, to the pirate Captain Girlington. Will he outwit danger in the nick of time?
Have you wanted to publish your story? Have you thought about self-publishing? Today is your day. 5-star Amazon review. Self-publish your ebook on Amazon for free in 2024. This ebook is available on Amazon. By Becca L. Jones.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
And we're back. Marjorie Deering says, where did you find the contests you entered, Dana?
It's called Book Life Prize, and I think it's booklifeprize.com. And you can get all the information there, but it's strictly for indie authors. It's international, and it's the indie branch of Publishers Weekly. But every time you enter the contest, the critics report is part of the contest, and to me, that kind of feedback is invaluable.
Yeah, I think you had entered some other contests too. I think she was wondering about those.
Chasing Hope won the Best Indie Book Award, which is that's another international contest, and it's called bestindiebookaward.com, I believe. And it's strictly for indie authors, and they've got all these different categories. And I entered that one. The Page Turner Awards is another one. It's also international. And let's see, those are the two. There's a lot of local contests and statewide contests and things like that. And I've entered those too, but I try to focus on one, because you can get, there's a rabbit hole you can get down, and it's hard to get out of. And plus they're expensive. I mean, the good contests are expensive. I think Book Life, I want to say it's $99. Best Indie Book Award, I believe it was too, but I can't remember now. But the prestige of winning one of those is big, and so I do it because nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Do you see or get a real value in this contest, book sales, etc.?
People ask me that all the time. And the thing is that if you have two books here that you've written, and you say, this one won this contest, this one didn't, which one do you think people are going to buy? they're going to buy the one with the contest win. Because whether it's a local or a state or a national or international, it doesn't matter. It's that sticker that says this book is a prize winner. And then plus you're a multi-award winning author. And if you've got more than one award or more than one book with awards, that's marketable. That's marketing things that you can use. So yeah. I do.
We our clone drones, we entered in a number of contests, and it won 4 contests, and one was an international contest. But it is expensive, so people have to understand that it's pricey to do that.
It isn't, but you just pick one. Like I always enter Best Indie Book Award. I always enter Page Turner and Book Life Prize. And I may space them out because, like I said, they're the deadlines are at different times, but those things they carry some weight. Unveiling Beulah was a finalist in Page Turner. The Detail was a finalist in Page Turner. Let's see what else. Of course, then I won the Best Indie Book, and then I won statewide contest, Texas Association of Authors contest. I've won that several times, different books, and it adds up. I think it's something that it's a marketing thing you don't want to pass up if you can help it.
Well, in Clone Drones, one of the judges liked the book so much he asked to read the rest of our series, and then he asked if his agent could push it to Canadian Broadcast Company as a series.
Cool.
And we said yes, but they didn't do it. But still, it was really nice to be considered, and it also got our book out there with some people that it is important to get it out there.
And that's the thing with being an indie author is that you take whatever opportunity you can to get your name out there, because in my little corner of East Texas, we're not a big metro area. We're a very small town. So anything I want to do, I've got to go out to do it. And every little bit helps.
Joe Condrell said, "What kind of marketing do you do, and how effective has it been?" And before you answer that, Chris Chrisman said, "That makes sense. Thanks, Dana," about the value of contests.
Yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
I do a lot of personal events. I do personal appearances, things. I look for craft fairs. I look for any kind of venue. And in East Texas, they celebrate something all the time. We celebrate fire, really. So find you a local event. One of the things I told a lady one time, I said, put a stick pin where your location is and go out. How far are you willing to drive to promote your book? And then draw a circle around that. And then look to see, start calling the Chamber of Commerce of these cities, or and say, what kind of events do you have going on? Who do I need to contact? And, but I do events like that all the time. Now, I don't do as many outside events in the summertime because I don't do hot anymore. I stick to indoor events. But craft fairs are really good. I also do crafts. I make Christmas crafts, and I'll take those. If I went to a book signing in Henderson one time, I had 3 tabletop Christmas trees left from that previous year. This was like in March. I told my husband, I said, I'm going to take those trees and see what happens with them. Sold all 3 of them, got orders for 2 more. So you just never know. It's just like any event. Some events are going to be profitable, some of them aren't. And I write romance, which is a niche market. And so, you have to be in the right place at the right time for that. I go to Funky Finds in Fort Worth every year. Patty Wiseman and I go up there for their Christmas deal. I've never taken my crafts up there because I just don't think I could take enough stock. I think it would sell too fast and I'd be out. But I have people that come and look for us every year. Oh, I know you've got a new book out. What's your new book? So you are repeat customers. But personal appearances are the biggest thing. That's where you're going to make your most money. Online stuff, Amazon and Kindle and all these other things. That's all fine and well, but you're a little fish in a ginormous pond there. And unless you've got a really, really good marketing strategy to catch all of those, you're not going to do it. It's going to be in personal appearances. And then also market yourself as a speaker. I've sent emails or letters to the Chamber of Commerce at surrounding cities and said, if any of your service clubs needs a speaker, I'm available. And I've gotten several engagements that way. And you can sell books there.
And also when you're doing all of that, you get to meet people and you make contacts, and that's really helpful too. I think local libraries too.
Yes.
Like to have speakers, like to have writers come in, authors come in and speak, and often they'll let you sell your books there too. And most local libraries, if you go, now there are some in our area that will take your books and they will put them on the shelf, and then if they do well, then they'll order them. And some won't. It just depends on who the head librarian is and what they want. So
I actually did a program at the library about a month ago for the library was having a summer writing program for high school kids. And so they asked me to come down and do a program for them, and I did. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. I love those kids. They were so bright. I was so excited to have these young people so interested in writing. They asked great questions. And after it was over with, we stood around and talked for 45 minutes because they had more questions. So I just thought that was awesome.
That is good.
So Joe said, so you don't do any Facebook or Amazon ads?
I've done both, and they haven't been that profitable for me. But I think that's operator error, because I know there is a way to do those ads and to target better than what I'm doing. And if I wish I had the time or somebody to sit down with me and say, okay, for your best ad, your best results, you need to do this, and then decide how much of this I'm willing to do. But yes, I've done Facebook ads and I've done
Amazon
ads, and both of them had a little. Amazon had a little better than Facebook. Facebook, I'd have a lot of views, but few clicks, and so I don't. I think that's operator error. I think there's something that I'm doing wrong because, well, I never went to school for that. I'm pretty sure it's operator error.
Yeah, you really do need to get the right hashtags and words out there. Right. Search engine optimization, SEO. Oh, how I love it.
There's a program called Rocket Publisher that could help you with that.
I actually have that. And I got it just recently. And
but it takes a while to really go through it and figure it out.
It's like, holy moly.
I know, right?
That's a lot of data to figure out how to use.
It works. Mm-hmm. And the thing with that is that every time that Amazon changes its analytics, they change. And so
that's the good thing about it. It's always going to be always going to be right. So
yeah.
But that's on my to-do list, is to get better at Amazon. We'll see. I don't know that I'll ever succeed in that category, but
you're having fun going out and doing all the public speaking.
I love that. I love meeting the people and talking books, and even if they don't read what I write, they're interested in talking to an author, and I love talking. So hey, a win-win.
Well, I love talking too. Did you notice?
As a matter of fact, we're almost out of time.
We've got to get out your website here. Go ahead.
Anybody that wants to reach Dana and see how to reach her on her social media links and see her books and buy them, go to www.danawayne.com. That's DANAWAYNE.com.
And you can find all your social media on there, right, Dana? And is there a way that they can reach you?
They can also email me, danawayne423@gmail.com.
Is that on your website too?
Mm-hmm, that's on my website, and I'm on Facebook also, author Dana Wayne, and you can contact me through there.
Okay. Perfect. and do that. I'm sure she'd like to hear from you, especially if you've read any of her books.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me go over to
What do you want?
brands, because there are a few that we put up. Chasing Hope, we showed that one. The Detail, yeah, we did that. Unveiling Beulah.
Unveiling
By the way,
Beulah.
love that name, Beulah.
Beulah.
That one won the International Book Impact Award.
Nice.
Nice.
And then Whispers on the Wind.
Got a ghost in that one.
Oh, then you know that we're going to like that one.
There you go.
Is it a paranormal romance?
No, it's just a straight up romantic suspense, but there's a ghost in it that talks to the sheriff to help him solve a murder. And the heroine in it, her grandmother, kind of hangs around to support her.
A support ghost.
I have a support ghost.
Yeah.
I actually have 2 support ghosts. I have both my grandmothers. One grandmother, I really don't want to see her because she's only comes around when something really horrible is about to happen, and she's there to say, you're going to make it through this. But the other one just is always around. So,
okay.
Yes, I see dead people.
Well, Dana, it's been wonderful meeting you, and
Yes.
great hearing about your books. Enjoyed the reading that you did.
One more comment.
Got one more comment coming in here. Great show and useful information. Chris Chrisman, thank you, Dana, and of course, Robin Joan. Thank you for tuning in, Chris.
Joe
And-
Conjal said, enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you, Dana. And of course, Robin Joan. And thank you for the book plug at the beginning of the show.
Oh.
You're welcome, Joe.
You're welcome.
Marjorie Deering. Another terrific episode. Thanks, Joan, Rob, and of course, Dana. And Marjorie, we have a ghosty one tomorrow night.
Yeah.
7:30. Paul Hollis says, another wonderful show. Thanks, Robin, Joan, and Dana. And Joyce Shelton York says, great show. Thank you, Dana. And she will be on our ghost show.
Yeah.
And Patty Wiseman says, great job. I think she's talking to you, Dana.
Yeah,
And
I
you
think so
did.
too.
And you did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be on. And thank
Okay.
you.
Oh, we appreciate you being on here.
We do. I'm going to move you over to the side. Hold on. Don't want to give you a whiplash here. Whoop. There we go. All right. Want to remind everybody next week, tune in for the Cereal Wars. I still think that's very intriguing. Should be very interesting.
He was a vice president or something at
Yeah,
Kellogg's, vice
yeah,
president
and
in
he-
charge of something.
Yeah, he did something with big in Kellogg Company. Okay, great. We'll see
Marjorie
you there.
Deering says, I'll be watching. We're glad.
All right. So I guess without further ado, anything else?
Nope.
All right. That's all, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at Fresh.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE